Hey everyone, my name is Matt Bradley, and I'm here today to talk to you about skydiving. By show of hands, how many of you have ever went skydiving? Anyone? Has anyone ever been interested or thought about going skydiving? Good. A few years ago, I was in the same position as many of you were, and I didn't really think too much about skydiving, and I had a friend who's just came out of the Coast Guard, and he told me about his experience with skydiving. And I talked to him a little bit about it. I was skeptical of jumping out of an airplane, and I did some research, and I made my decision that I was going to go skydiving. And take it from me, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my entire life. If you're thinking about going, do it. I'm going to talk to you today about some of the reasons why you may not want to skydive, and why those reasons, you can overcome those reasons. And I want to talk to you and inform you a little bit more about skydiving. Some of you might not know, what a normal skydive, your first day jumping out of an airplane might be like. So hopefully I could share with you my experience and hopefully persuade at least one of you to go skydiving, because it really is a life-changing experience. So first, some of you just might not be interested in it, and I believe that if I could inform you about some of the statistics that skydiving has, and how exhilarating of an experience it is, that maybe you might be able to change your mind. Time and money are always a factor with any purchase that you make these days, and it's important that you make good decisions with how you're going to spend your money. And fear is a huge factor that some of you might be reluctant to, might be afraid of heights, might be afraid of flying, but overcoming those fears, if you're able to do so, get over that hill, you're going to have the time of your life. So if you're not interested, I have a short clip. Maybe catch your attention. So hopefully that gave you a little idea of what it's like. It's pretty real, and in a little bit I'm going to go along and explain to you exactly how I felt going up into that point, and how I overcame my fears. But first, time and money. To go skydiving, it takes you about a half a day. You go through training, and they teach you about how to be safe. Half a day. You don't even need a full day. Money, it's actually on average about $165 to go skydiving, but it's worth every penny. And fear, if you're able to overcome your fears, you're going to be able to become more confident and get this feeling that, I can jump out of an airplane, I can go overcome my fears of heights, that I can do anything kind of attitude. And a lot of the reason why people are afraid, and skydiving has such a bad reputation, because there's many misconceptions about skydiving. And skydiving, if there's a mistake made, it's fatal. And I think that's a big reason why people, are so afraid to go skydiving. But some statistics show that it actually isn't as risky as many of you may believe. According to the United States Parachute Association, on average 30 people do die every year from skydiving, and that's out of 300 million jumps per year, and about 350 people are making these jumps. But a majority, those 30 deaths, any of those accidents, are from people who are doing like the extreme, completely jumping out of an airplane without a parachute, or pulling the chute too late. Very, very, very rarely does it ever have to do with any equipment malfunction. And since it's such an infrequent occurrence for these fatalities, the media seems to be able to jump on those situations. And to put it in perspective, about 40,000 traffic accidents lead to death each year. So if you can compare, pretty much everyone drives almost every day. If not, you're driving sometime throughout the week. You have a better chance of dying on the way to go skydiving than you do actually jumping out of the plane. So now I want to, give you an idea of what a day would be like jumping out of an airplane. What your first day jumping out, you would jump tandem, and you can see in this picture, tandem means that you're jumping with another person, another professional. When I jumped, the person that was harnessed to me had over 10,000 jumps in his career. So I mean, if he's doing it 10,000 times, I could feel pretty secure that I could do it too. So you get to the facility, they're going to go, and I watched a 20-minute training video. They explained, the precautions to take and the techniques, how to jump out and what you're supposed to do. And what you do is you suit up, and you have a harness, which is going to attach to the tandem, or the professional behind you, and you have an altimeter on your fingers, which tells you the altitude. And what you do is you go up 14,000 feet, which is approximately 2.5 miles in the sky, and when you jump out of the plane, you have 60 seconds of free fall before you pull the chute. You look at 4,000 feet on your altimeter is when you pull the chute, and you have about 6 to 7 minutes on a parachute on the way down. So you're going to go through the training program. You have to sign paperwork, waivers, so they're not responsible. And they review, and if you're unsure of anything, any professional skydiving school will explain to you any questions that you'll have. And once you get in the airplane, the next thing is you got to jump. And for me, I remember it all happened so fast for me, and I got, before I knew it, I was in the plane, and I'm sitting there, and I see all these other people that are going to be jumping with me, and my heart's racing. I'm a little scared. I'm pretty excited, but I look at my altimeter and it's at 14,000, and I look over, and the first people are already gone. I'm like, oh wow, and the people next to me are already jumping. So I'm like, oh man, like I'm next. So before I know it, I'm sitting, on the side of an airplane with my head out of the airplane with a guy attached to my back, and I'm about to jump out of an airplane. So, needless to say, I jumped, and it was one of the best feelings. As you saw in the video that I showed you, the guy kind of did a front flip out of the airplane, and that's kind of the same thing that I did. And I took a deep breath, and you expect that feeling. That feeling on a roller coaster when your stomach drops. I expected that kind of feeling, but it was nothing at all remotely close to that. It was just a feeling of freedom, like I was flying, and all my worries, like anything that was going on that week or during that day, was completely gone, and my adrenaline was rushing, and my hair's on end, and it was amazing. And then I pulled the chute, and then I had 7 minutes to come down on the parachute, and it was such a peaceful time for me, you know, looking down, just seeing the earth, you know, and I'm just floating there, and you know, you thank God for, you know, being able to do things like that, and I'm, you know, made a safe landing, and you know, it's definitely something I am interested in doing again. But what can benefit you is kind of how I was explaining to you the feelings that I got, the adrenaline rush and the feeling and serenity that it gives you. The experience, you can say that you did it yourself rather than just hearing me say it. You know exactly how, you know, how it feels if you do it rather than me just telling you. It's a completely different experience. And, you know, it might be something, you might be afraid of heights or flying. It's a good way. It's actually very, I know, I showed you the statistics, it's pretty safe. It's a good way to maybe conquer your fears. This is a quote that I pulled off one of the research, from some of the research that I did, and it really hit the nail on the head. And it says, "You must jump to know. No words can describe the incredible rush when the wind invites you to play. You are one of the few. For a brief moment you doubt, but the doubt is short-lived. As gravity pulls you from safety on a plane, you understand. This is freedom, no turning back now. But who would want to? The dream of human flight is yours. For 60 seconds you are free. You know what it means to be a jumper." And, you know, that really summed it up for me. And, you know, like I said, I could sit here and try to explain to you how I felt and how amazing of an experience and how life-changing it was for me, but unless you do it yourself, you're not really going to know until you do it. So I actually have a little handout of my email and the skydiving school that I went to that I'm going to hand out. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me and do the research yourself. And hopefully one of you will go skydiving.